If we, for the moment, consider this ridiculous claim to be the truth, that would mean that this second disc currently resides within this courtroom. Wait a moment, this courtroom? How can you be so confident about that? Because Gregson here is an inspector of the yard. Lord Van Zeeks? A genius inspector like him makes calm and calculated decisions, no matter the situation. Do you honestly believe he would accept a verbal contract as the fruits of a negotiation? There would be no exchange. Should he not actually receive the item he was bargaining for? Oh, then that means he should have it on him this very moment. The second disc is in his possession. If we search Inspector Gregson, all will become clear. Alright, that's right, after all. The only time they could have made a deal was during Gene Bean's testimony, and Toby hasn't left the stand since. The defense requests an immediate search of his belongings. And how do you respond, Inspector? I believe this man's claim to be an insult to Scotland Yard. But if it'll let me clear up these baseless doubts, then go ahead and search me. You'll just let us? He's really consenting to the search. How do we know he didn't just pass it on to someone else? Exchange student, someone like you should understand this. We have no choice but to view this as a challenge against the entirety of Scotland Yard. If, perchance, no disc is found during the search, the trial will instantly be suspended on the question of your suitability as an attorney. The British government will no doubt issue a formal complaint against your country. A formal complaint? A lone exchange student blaspheming the name of our unparalleled Scotland Yard. Such an act would be something we could not possibly ignore. You're all just trying to scare him. It should go without saying, but that is the resolve you require to make such an indictment. Certainly. I can't imagine the inspector would make a deal with only a promise to walk away with. He must have already received the disc from Kroger, but something is seriously bothering me. Please give your final answer, defense. Yes, my lord. Does the defense wish to formally request that Inspector Gregson's belongings be searched? No. Search somebody else. The defense requests a body search. What in blazes? Do as you wish. Surely such I have no idea what that word is. Obstinacy is characteristic of the Japanese mindset, and soon you shall come to realize the true outcome of your way of thinking. Understood. I will neither run nor hide. Very well. Oh, very well then. Bailiff, examine the inspector's belongings at once. Yeah, we didn't say Gregson's. Inspector Gregson isn't the one I want searched. What? Don't be foolish, boy. Isn't it me that you're trying to indict? Actually, I have my eyes on someone else. What do you want about? You're spouting nonsense. There is no reason to agree to such a senseless search. So I basically would have two choices. Cut it out. Wait. Oh. Ryu is mustering up the resolve that you all keep going on about. First, we should respect that resolve, and then we should respond in good faith. That's the British Empire that I know. Indeed, your words ring true. The court is willing to respond to the defence's resolve. No, please my lord, you can't. Ah, there we go. We got him. Assuming I haven't mistaken anything I've seen to this point, there's only one person who could possibly have the disc right now. It's when they were fucking arguing! Ah, you clever bastards! When they got into that fight, argument, who does the defense want body searched? Nemi. Yeah, it's when he grabbed him by the collar. For no reason. It was to slip the bloody disc into his coat. As I say, clever bastards. That person is Nemi Tinpillar. What? You what? Me? You? Very well then. Bailiff, restrain that man and perform a thorough search of his person at once. Is that Gregson? My lord, please, I beg you to stop this. Inspector Gregson? Scotland Yard itself objects to this search. He's got something to hide, clearly. Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objection won't stand. What? The only people permitted to raise objections in court are the prosecution and the defence. But, Lord Van Zieks, while I don't know what higher power you're being held underfoot by, it's Lord Chief Justice, or whatever it is. I have no intention of opposing the search. Bailiff, please begin this search. Wait, hold your horses. I haven't the foggiest about this. Honest. I don't know nothing about no disc. Get away from me. We found it. Inside the witness's jacket pocket. Why is this here? Found it. That's a really clever way of passing it off. Why, that's... yet another music box disc, is it? What? How did that get in there? I'd come to think of it, Nemi probably didn't have a clue. Yeah, so I highly doubt they were in cahoots. I have a feeling it was Gregson all along. He slipped it into his coat, or jacket, and he was none the wiser. That's the second disc left behind by McGundle. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Order, order. Order in the court. What in the devil is going on? What's going on? What the heck is going on here? I ain't got the foggiest what this thing is, bruv. Swear on me dead mum. Now hold on just a minute. What does all this mean? As I recall, Inspector Gregson was the one who struck a deal with the witness, no? I believe so. Then I don't understand. Why did this man have the disc that the inspector had confiscated? Usually Inspector Gregson is calm and composed. But just a little while ago, there was something unnatural about him. What was it? He grabbed him by the... yeah, there he realised. He grabbed him by scruff at neck. That moment was during Mr. Crowgray's cross-examination. Mr. Crowgray, when you left the shop, was the second disc in your pocket? Know that your accusations do not faze me. There. At that moment, Inspector Gregson started violently shaking Nemi. That's right, bruv. I thought I could wave my neck goodbye. All I could think in that moment was, I wish I was Tully right now. What exactly was going on at that time? How should I know? He just grabbed me by the collar and started shaking me like his laundry. Said something like, why didn't you mention the third gun? Or something in it. This inspector here started screaming right in my ear. They're still ringing even now, bruv. That moment, Inspector Gregson wasn't the same cool, composed inspector we know. And, thinking about it, that was the only time it could have happened. It was the only time Inspector Gregson could have hidden the disc he was carrying. What did you say? He hid the disc? But I simply don't understand. If the inspector's goal was to retrieve the disc, then why would he hide it in someone else's pocket? This is a court of law. If he just submitted it as evidence... I have a feeling that this wasn't an option for the good inspector. But why? Before he claimed he was on a mission. The duty given to me was to covertly retrieve the information stolen from the government's telegrams. It was high-profile, top-secret government information, so I couldn't let anyone know. Top secret? What was stolen was a confidential telegram from the government of the British Empire. It seems submitting it to the court as evidence would have created a major scandal. Is that correct, Inspector Gregson? I'm working under orders from the government. I'm afraid I cannot answer that question. And that's an answer in itself. In case of the extremely unlikely event that you were to be seized and searched, you hoped for a chance to hide the disc somewhere else. Oh, then perhaps... Inspector Gregson pretended to shake Nemi. He did this in order to hide the second disc. He pretended. What is the meaning of this, Inspector Gregson? And you too, Mr. Crogware. Do you both confess to taking part in some manner of deal? Confess? Who? You mean me? Mr. Crogware. Let that Japanese over there think what he will. However, you have no evidence that I'm the one who gave the disc to the inspector. But you can't provide a reason why you knew about the people at the scene of the crime. I have no obligation to tell you anything. Huh? Certainly I lied in my testimony, I'll admit that much, and I am prepared for the consequences. But I'll say no more. Murder, government secrets, and a secret deal to boot. It's all the whimsical machinations of this Japanese boy's own imagination. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. What? What? Again? Fuck me. Can Van Ziek's just be on my side for once? But then, Inspector Gregson, what about you? Do you admit to making a deal with Rupert Crogware? Nope. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as an Inspector of Scotland Yard, I have little else to say. I've been operating under the Honourable Great British Empire in the pursuit of justice. Therefore, as representatives of the fine citizens of our empire, I wish to request that you pass an honourable verdict. This is quite a difficult situation. It's rare that the trial reaches such a standstill just before the end. This time, if there truly is no more evidence to deliberate over, then I must request our 6 jurors pass a final verdict. The words of one who has devoted his life to protecting his country carry a great weight. I believe in the Inspector. He has the eyes of a faithful servant. No matter how much I cross my eyes now, I can't see anything stereoscopically anymore. As a professional myself, I want to believe in his words. Mr. Crogware is truly incredible. Oh, if only I could be just like him. That Inspector has eyes I can trust. That is all I know. This is bad. All 6 jurors. They all trust Inspector Gregson. If they hand down a verdict now, we're done. Then Jean Bean will be declared guilty, won't she? If we can't present some kind of decisive evidence now, then it's all over. We need evidence to force Crogware to confess to murder and robbery. Or evidence to force Inspector Gregson to confess to making some kind of deal. Well then, what does the defence have to say? Do you wish for the jury to hand down their verdict? Or has the defence prepared evidence that they wish to submit? If I ask the jury to hand down their verdict, Jean is all but guaranteed to be declared guilty. Then there's only one thing we can do. We've got to hit them with some evidence. This is the big moment. What I say now will determine everything. Crogware or Inspector Gregson, who should I show my evidence to? Gregson. Inspector Gregson. There's one last piece of evidence I want you to look at. Me? If you won't admit to your deal with Crogware, then maybe we'll just have to inspect a certain piece of evidence very thoroughly. What are you playing at? This is the home stretch. I need to present something, here and now. Something to force the inspector to admit to the existence of their deal. The music box, of course. There we go. Is this Mr. McGundle's music box? There is already one disc set inside that music box. I want to listen to the sound it makes one more time. But this time, I want to insert the newly discovered second disc as well. You mean this disc? No, you can't. Hold it. I can't allow you to do that. Why not? Because Because, you see, it has no bearing on this case at all, I swear. You're wrong. How dare you? Earlier, the defense made the following assertion. The sound that was played from this music box was part of a transmission in Morse code. Morse code is comprised of two sets of sounds, dots and dashes. There's a chance that this disc contains the second set of sounds. It's our duty to find out for sure. But remember, we're dealing with top secret information from the British government. If we happen to make that information public, it would be tantamount to treason. It sounds like you'd better admit the truth then. Admit that you made an illicit deal in hopes of protecting this confidential information. Why, you... Well, if you do plan to leak top secret government information here, you'd be making a very powerful enemy. You face the might of the British government. I don't care. You being an inspector knowingly leaked secret information to the witness. You even resorted to lies in order to carry out your mission. Why should I have to pull any punches? Are you mad? I'm prepared to make any enemies I have to, in order to protect my client. Side with me for once. My lord, I have a request. Please let us listen to the music box right away. Lord Van Zeeks, I'm begging you. You've got to stop this madness. He's going to be on my side, I think. Inspector, I thought you would understand my way of doing things by now. I am a prosecutor. I am no mere pawn of the police force. What? So long as I stand here, I will stop at nothing in order to find the truth. Confound it! He's on my side! I can sympathize with each of your positions. Now, with respect to the defense's request, we shall once again listen to the sound generated by this music box. What in the world will happen when we insert both discs and play them simultaneously? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Find out in the next game. Bloody hell. Whoa. There's no doubt anymore. It's Morse code. Is that 05? Hold it. Okay, fine, I get it. It's all true. But please. Turn it off. Huh? Okay. So it just goes dead silent. Alright. God, when did I start recording? It's been 5.5 hours, so... 2 hours, 3 hours... It was 9... Oh my god, I started at 9 PM. Shit. Inspector Gregson, let's make this absolutely clear. I'm gonna need a drink and some food after this. You made a deal with the witness, yes? In exchange for this disc, you gave him information on the crime scene. Specifically, you told him about the peephole in the storeroom door. I deny nothing. Hey, hold on. What do you think you're doing? All of that Japanese boy's assertions, they're all correct. When the trial resumed, this man stood next to me at the witness stand. Then, he turned to me and offered me a deal. Shut up! Shut up! Right. Pardon me, sir. You must be the inspector I met at the pawn shop, are you not? You see, I am currently in possession of that which you seek. What do you say? Are you willing to make a deal? If you refuse, this information may end up being revealed to the world. Yeah, it's kinda like blackmail more than anything. No matter the cost, I couldn't bear to let that stolen information be leaked. Thus, I agreed to his deal and gave him the information he needed. I revealed to him the existence of the peephole and the blood on the coat. This witness tried to falsify testimony, all to frame my client for the crime. Inspector Gregson, you knew this. Yet you still told him about the peephole. Indeed I did. Who knew that the peephole was made after the crime? Even as the lead inspector for this case, I had no idea. What do you have to say for yourself, Rupert Kroger? There's nothing left for you to hide behind. You made a deal with Inspector Gregson to escape punishment for your crimes. This can lead us to only one conclusion. You, Rupert Kroger, the third intruder at the crime scene, murdered Hatch. You were the murderer. You killed Hatch. Fucking finally! I broke it. Burn in hell, traitor. Oh, bloody hell. What just happened? Bailiff, hurry and restrain that man. Quickly now. Jesus. That's it. It's all over. Or is it? Death would have been preferable to another day in the slums. We were at the absolute bottom of the ladder. I cursed the day I was born to a tradesman. My parents did nothing but argue every single day. I'd never even seen money before. Oh, it's him. I was wondering what the hell that was this. Or what was going on. I resolved myself to study as hard as I could. Also, I could escape from that life. And then you became a telegraphist. You made a commendable effort. But despite all that, you stole state secrets and tried to sell them. What on earth drove you to do such a thing? I don't know. Power? Isn't it obvious? I just wanted money. Even now I wake up in the middle of the night, plagued by dreams of the slums. Really? I wanted so much money that I would never have to worry about those nightmares again. And that was when I met him. When I met that wretched man, Kojima Gundel. Oh. I could turn your skills into unimaginable profit. Trust in my plan. Together we will have untold riches. Oh. Gundel promised me a great sum of money in exchange for stolen confidential telegrams. As the one in charge of routinely checking the Ministry's telegraph room, it was child's play. You gave in to the devil whispering in your ear. Stealing the government's classified information is no doubt a very serious crime. I knew that. I took so many precautions, in hopes that the deals would go smoothly. That's why you resorted to using a music box, I suppose. My father was a bricklayer. He divorced my mother when I was young. Mortar Milverton. My father was skilled with his hands, and he had once been the apprentice of a music box maker. It's no great feat to make a box that only plays Morse code. With that in mind, I visited the high street in search of my father. And then, for the first time in 10 years, we were reunited. Look at you, Rupert. You've become such a fine gentleman. I almost didn't recognize you. He was nothing like the man I knew. He seemed to be just a frail old man. No matter how desperate he was, my father would never break the law. If I told him the truth, he most likely would not assist me. So I told him. I have something to ask of you. Would you be able to make a music box disc? A music box disc? I have a friend that composed some songs that I want to sell at a pub. I have 2 scores here ready to transfer onto the discs. Okay, I'll do it. Fair warning though, it's been 20 whole years. The tools I need to make them are still up in the loft. Give me a moment. And that was how classified information was encrypted and embedded onto 2 discs. You divided the information. That was certainly cautious. It was also the means to protect myself. Or a means to protect myself. The trades with McGundle were to be split into 2 transactions. For the first transaction, I would give him one of the discs and the music box to play them. For this I would receive 10 guineas. The second transaction was where we would trade the other disc for 1,000 guineas. So the murder on the omnibus happened during the latter transaction. Yes. I sold him the information according to the plan we agreed on. but it seems he became uncomfortable over the price. However, there is something I find rather strange. The one killed 2 months ago was not you, but your father, Mr. Mortimer Milverton. When I received 1,000 guineas after our first series of trades, I gave my father 200 as a sign of appreciation. But he was sharper than I had thought. He appeared to have realised that these transactions weren't lawful. Let me help you out with your next trade. If you won't let me, I can't accept any more of your money. Maybe he knew. To my father, that seemed to be the most logical course of action. I will board that coach and exchange the second disc with McGundle for the money. My father never learned just what was on those discs. It is impossible now for me to ever know what truly happened that night, but... my father had that disc stolen from him, and he never returned home again. At that moment, I was made painfully aware of McGundle's true nature. I wonder, did he kill McGundle? For the first time in 10 years, I finally uttered my father's name again. And then... I wonder. I swore to take revenge. Revenge? I'm sure anyone who knew McGundle could have imagined what would happen. He exploited his assets in order to break the law and influence his trial. Ultimately, he destroyed the integrity of that trial. Forging evidence, tampering with the crime scene, bribing witnesses to commit perjury. Cosney McGundle's trial was nothing more than paid-off deception. That day, I had just arrived in London. I was dragged into that trial with no idea of his true nature. I had plenty of money saved up from all of our dealings. And 2 months ago, I used all of that to hire certain men. Many Londoners will stop at nothing for money. I learned that from McGundle himself. No way. Mr. Crogray, you mean you... Yes, I suppose you've guessed the truth. The moment he was acquitted through his unlawful bribes, I ended the devil's life with my own hands. Oh. He's the one that set it ablaze. The accident 2 months ago was planned and carried out by yours truly. So the one that murdered McGundle 2 months ago was this man. The preparations are complete, so if you would please move to the Crown Court. Oh? This is much earlier than I was led to believe. I'm very sorry, the plans have changed somewhat. Well, you heard the man. I must excuse myself now. I'll be stuck inspecting the crime scene for a while yet, I am told. It seems that the omnibus will have to undergo another investigation, given the circumstances. They said that they want me to be present for it, if at all possible. So that bailiff back then was... Yes, I bought out the real bailiff and swapped him with a fake. McGundle twisted that trial with his money. He bought and used someone to plant that fake evidence in the omnibus. Then he threatened a witness, forcing her to give falsified testimony. So I did the same thing to him. I covered that omnibus in kerosene. I used fake bailiffs to send McGundle to the depths of hell, where he belongs. The end. That is how I avenged my father's death. What about Hatch? Why'd you kill Hatch? How terrifying. However, in all truth, there is one more thing that was bothering me. Huh? Of course, I am referring to the second disc which my father took. Indeed. At the trial 2 months ago, there was absolutely no mention of its existence. In other words, that disc disappeared from the scene of the crime. Something came to mind at the time. I suddenly thought of the first time I had dealt with McGundle. Here is the first disc and the music box to play it. I see. What a cautious method. In any case, here's your 10 guineas as promised. What is this? Hatch's Pawnbrokers. It's the pledge ticket for a pawnbrokers. They're awfully handy little shops. There is no need to name yourself, simply show the pledge ticket and say the password. I have pledged a jewel there. Sell it and you will receive 10 guineas. Quite an interesting use of pawn shops. I'd never have thought of that. Are you perhaps not aware, Mr. Kroger? To the city folk, London's pawnbrokers are the most trustworthy of safe deposit boxes. If he had hidden my father's stolen disc on the spur of the moment,